What is up, YouTube and Twitch? It is your host, Deeper Depths, with the Deeper Level podcast. And let me tell you, we have a banger of a show lined up for you today. Listen, if you are watching this live, do me a favor and hit that like button. Also, hit that share button and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I go live or more content becomes available right here on this channel. We've been having an amazing time here on the Deeper Level podcast. And of course, those of you who were tuned in on Thursday night with actor Tony Todd, it was phenomenal. We had an opportunity to cover his role, Venom, within Spider-Man 2. And of course, as soon as we got off of that interview, lo and behold, I did not expect any of this, but it went viral. Comicbook.com covered it. Links were shared everywhere. So I just want to thank the community. Certainly a shout out to Evan Falarka for your share, and also to Caboose, who also connected right after we did that stream. So thank you guys so much. You are legends in the game as it relates to content creators. And me personally, I've never been a part of something that big. So all of that was just new to me. But tonight, let me tell you, there is no shortage of a great podcast today, because guess what? I have my guest with me today. He is having an amazing career in film, theater, and interactive gaming. He was the voice and the face of Die Hartman in the award-winning game Death Stranding by the incredible mind of Hideo Kojima. Currently the voice of Jacob Kane in WB Games Montreal's Gotham Knights, and Mayor Walker in the #1 Netflix show in the entire world called Wednesday Addams. Would you please help me welcome my special guest today, Mr. Tommie Earl Jenkins? How are you, sir?
I am well. What an intro, man. I'm like, who is he talking about? Is that me?
Yes,
that's
sir.
a build up. That is an intro and a half, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, hey, incredible work ethic deserves that type of introduction. You know, you've just been having an amazing career, and I actively follow you on social media. And I see that you recently, last month, celebrated a birthday. Is that correct?
I did indeed, man. Yes, another trip around the sun. I feel blessed. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
And, you know, I want to officially say happy birthday again. And, you know, it just looks like you had such an incredible time. You know, it's a beautiful thing just to be surrounded by friends and family, you know, people that we can enjoy and celebrate it with. So, yes, awesome. Happy birthday to you again, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. As we kind of get into this, because I want to maximize our time together, because again, I want to thank you for coming on the show and just taking a moment out of your busy schedule, because I know you've got 1,000 things that you could be doing. So it's just
Fingers and
refreshing.
pies, man. Fingers and pies.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I certainly want to thank you for coming on the podcast. One thing that I've always been fascinated with, Tommie, is who inspires the people that inspire us, you know, because you are an inspiration literally to millions around the world. And if I could just start by asking you, as one of our inspirations, who was someone that inspired you in your life?
I mean, that is such a hard one, because there are a multitude of people across a whole spectrum of things, you know, whether that's theater or film or writers, directors who inspire me. In terms of that, I mean, I like to, in terms of actors, Denzel's always been a favorite of mine growing up and watching him. Sidney Poitier, the classics, you know, the legends like Al Pacino, you know, Anthony Hopkins, Morgan Freeman. I mean, the list is endless. You know, but people like Maya Angelou, who I take inspiration from words of her poetry that inspire us to move forward and live our best lives. And people like Oprah today. You know, I love people who come across in such positive ways that, you know, we need that. We need that every day of our lives. And I find it's easier to live a much more positive life and positive thinking than it is to go down that negative road. And I say that purely out of experience, because I've tried them. I've been down those negative roads, and it doesn't work well. It doesn't end well for people. And I think it's a lot easier to find the positivity in things, you know, if you let yourself go that way.
Absolutely. Wow. Well spoken. And the inspirations that you mentioned are definitely good people to be inspired by. Of course, Denzel is just one of those kind of world influences. Certainly that inspires us all. So it's just good to know that it's not just me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
those are cool inspirations. Now you've
yeah.
been, as I stated earlier, having such an amazing career, both in TV and film and in theater, in interactive video games. Now, there's no wrong answer to this question, but are you a gamer? Like, has there ever been a season of your life where you were into gaming? Like, do you have the time? Because I know you're extremely busy, but have you ever dabbled in the gaming arena?
Listen, I love games. I first and foremost, I don't consider myself a gamer, um,
Okay.
but I do love them. And I go back to a period when I remember I got my first PlayStation, and I had things like Donkey Kong on it. I'm old school, but I don't necessarily. I follow the stories. I follow some of the projects that come out. And I am so in awe of the work that goes into it. I voice a lot of games. I play when I can. But like I said, I don't consider myself a gamer, but I have a huge appreciation. One, because I do the work, but two, I see how it's all put together. For
Wow.
people to enjoy, and the amount of time that people invest. And and I don't have a lot of time on my hands, so I don't get a chance to play it the way probably that in my heart I'd like to be able to spend more
Sure.
time. But I do have other things that I kind of concentrate on. And that's not to say I'm saying I'm not doing it because I don't like it.
Sure.
I love it. In this day and age, also the story aspects of games has come so far.
Yes.
That people get drawn into the cut scenes of stories, and it is something else. People are moved. It's something that I feel like I'm surprised there aren't Oscars for situations where some of these stories and the actors who participate in them. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. And you said something critical, because the gaming industry, and you see it, like you said, it's part of your world, it's what you do. You see the start to finish process and all of the work that goes into that. Even movies in general, a lot of times when the credits scroll, I tell people, if you'll really just watch the credits and
Sure.
see how many people it takes to pull off that type of production, because
Really, man.
triple
Absolutely.
A video game titles that you've been involved in literally have $100 million budgets now.
Yeah.
So they are massive and just incredible. I think while we're on the subject of gaming, that we can all agree, those that are watching us right now can all agree that your performance in Death Stranding, oh my God, it was stellar as Die
Um,
Hardiman.
thank you.
What was it like to work with Hideo Kojima on this project? Because he's like one of the most brilliant minds of our time, just in general.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Um, for me, it was incredible, and I'll be honest and say because I didn't do any of the Metal Gear stuff, and because I wasn't an avid gamer. I had heard the name. I didn't really follow the history or the knowledge behind him, and I look back on that moment, meeting him for the very first time, and I kind of being very grateful that I didn't know how massive this man was.
Yes.
So that I was thinking, I'm just here to do a job. I'm an actor. This guy has asked me to do this role. My job is to come in and try and bring the story alive, create this character, blah blah blah. And so my focus was purely on the work. It was really about the work and making sure I did exactly what they wanted in terms of uh, telling the story, bringing their vision to life. And then it wasn't until after that I kind of did a little bit of research about it and kind of go, and believe me, it didn't take a lot of research. All you had to do was Google the man's name and know how massive this guy is. But working with him was a highlight. Uh, of my career, and certainly because it was my first time doing motion capture as well. And what better way to start? I mean, to
Oh,
work with a legend like this, who, who had this incredible and very, very complicated story to tell. But it was magic because he was there 100%. He was hands-on 100%. If something was good, you've got the thumbs up. If you want to work on something, we'll break it down. And he has a translator who was there to tell you everything that was going on. And it's interesting speaking with him because I tend to look directly at him as I'm hearing the translation being done. And so I feel like, I am literally talking to him,
right.
So, but he is so passionate about what he does. And when you work with people who are like that, it it's like a I don't know, it's a this sort of this transferring of energy and minds that you feel all of that, and you think, well, that passion, I have to somehow take that on in what I'm doing. When someone has something and feels that way about something, you can't help but not jump
Yes.
on board with it. So it was amazing. In long and short, incredible, incredible journey with him.
Wow. So now this was an all-star cast, yourself, Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you all had a phenomenal cast to bring this story to life.
it was
But just
incredible, man.
even the production of it.
Mhm.
Walk us through what a work day looked like in that atmosphere. Because I heard you mention you did mocap. What did all that look like? How long does it take to do something like this?
Um, in terms of walking through the process of this particular game, which obviously what I can speak on, was it was a journey. It was, we were a year in the
Wow.
making, trying to get all that. And I think a lot of that has to do with making sure people's schedules line up to be able to do certain things and this, that, and the other. And it's a long process, for people developing games anyway. From the moment they announce something, it's about another year or two before the game actually comes out sometimes, because it
Gotcha.
takes that long to get things going and to put things together in a way that they want to present it to the world. Um, but a day would start, if I'm on a mocap stage, I'd get there, I'd arrive at Sony or whatever sound stage I'm going to be at, have a little breakfast when I get there, have a little coffee and go and get into my mocap suit. And it really depends on what's on the schedule for that day, what scenes you're working on, and if it's going to be, am I going in the booth to do VO, or am I going to be on the sound stage today? If I'm on the sound stage, I know that I would have prepared my script to learn it so that I can be on set, so to speak, and then be able to do the work that I can do by knowing all my lines, get my headgear on, and basically it works exactly the same as if you're going to film a movie or a TV show. You
Wow.
get on that sound stage, you know what you're doing, you know the lines you're going to say, and the rest is up to the director and how you move, get from point A to point B. And try things. Sometimes it's a collaboration. It's trying to figure out what works for you. How do you feel doing it? And I have to say that's one thing about working with Hideo was uh, you didn't do anything I don't think you felt uncomfortable with. And there was always the communication, how do you feel? And I think he always finds a way of bringing something natural about yourself into a character. Certain aspects of things that you have, mannerisms or isms that you have. He finds a way to kind of incorporate that, because I think it brings an element of another element of truth to how you portray a character. But that's kind of the day when you're working on mocap. If it's a day and I'm going to go spend the day in the studio doing the voiceover for it, I'll might have still put on a headgear or a mic and everything just to do the voiceover work for a particular scene, or so it can vary. It really does depend on what's on the schedule. But they're long days, there are short days, there are in between days. It really does depend. But it's a lot of hard work. I'm not gonna lie. One of the things about motion capture, I will say this and we'll move on, but is, as an actor, it is one of those things where you have to dig. And I've said this before in interviews. People have asked, what is the difference between that and doing TV? Sometimes I think you have to dig a little deeper as a motion
Gotcha.
capture actor. When you're on a sound stage with nothing around you except, a couple of little props, and things like that, but you have to dig deep to imagine certain situations that you are in, because you don't necessarily have mountains and trees around you, or feeling the wind from the cold or the rain, all that sort of stuff. You have to really gear up for those emotions as if you're going, because that's going to be laid on top of you. But you don't have it. We're not shooting a movie where we're going to Alaska to film in the snow.
Right.
You've got to help create that, as the actor. So I find that there are elements that can be a little more difficult with that, but it's a challenge, and I love a challenge.
Hey, that's it, man. I'm fueled by challenge. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you did such an incredible job bringing that character to life, and it was just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I was thoroughly impressed just with the level of production of the game Death Stranding, and I know that it actually ended up getting remastered as well for next generation systems like
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 and Xbox
Mhm.
Series X. What was going through your mind the first time that you actually saw your character? Because I mean, they nailed your character model. I mean, the facial expressions, I mean, it was something to be proud of. But what went through your mind the first time you saw yourself as a 3D model?
Oh, dude, I knew where they were heading, and and then when you join a project like that, you're always kind of told whether it's going to be your likeness or not, or whatever. And sometimes we just voice characters. Sometimes there's a particular image that they've already got for a character, and you just do the voice, or this is going to be based off of your likeness. And I have to say, I have seen those things before, and I've saw some really, really good stuff. Amazing. You can look at it and go, I know who that is. Oh, that's Norman Reedus. Oh, that's Keanu Reeves. Oh, that's so and so. Do you know what I mean? And you recognize them, you see them. But dude, I have to say, when I saw myself, I kind of flipped out a little bit, because it was weird, because it wasn't a film. It wasn't like I'd gone in and they filmed me. This was created based off. I'd gone to Sony down in San Diego for 2 days or something. I had full body scan, facial scan, where they record all your expressions and things like that. And I was blown out of the water. I was blown. The texture,
Yes,
even down to the
yes.
tears, and those things. I was just like, some people kind of thought, well, are those computer generated? The tears, those tears were real. Those
Wow.
tears were real, and they were captured. You
Wow.
know, and that when I saw that, I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
See, now you actually told me something, Tommy, that I did not know. Like, I knew about the character models and stuff, but I didn't know that it got as intricate as getting down to the tears and capturing the facial expressions. Just the ability that technology is able to even do that is just fascinating.
I
Um,
tell you. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So the hit game, switching gears just a little bit, because again, you've got so much going on in the gaming world. So there's a hit game out right now, which I've been playing and I thoroughly enjoy it, by WB Games Montreal, Gotham Knights. And I'm loving it. Heroic Assault just dropped on November the 29th, which is a 4-player co-op gaming mode.
Mhm.
But in the main story, you play Jacob Kane, who leads the Court of Owls. I was interviewing Stephen O. Young about 3 weeks ago, and he was telling me just how amazing the entire cast was, to work with.
Mhm.
Yourself and just so many of the others, America Young. Once again, this is just an all-star, stellar lineup. It's like WB Games understood the assignment, and casting you as Jacob Kane was perfect, because the twist happened
Yeah.
in the storyline. So what did that feel like, of being able to don the mantle of Jacob Kane?
Dude, once again, I mean, I'm kind of blown away by all the messages that I get about it. It was an interesting journey, this one, because I auditioned. They asked to see me, and I auditioned for it. And when it came through, I did think hard about doing it, because one, it's a very iconic character. People know who this character is, and we see him in one incarnation. And for me as an African American, to voice this character, where I appreciate that in this world, in this genre of work that we, a voice is a voice, and a
Yes.
character is a character, and I take great pride in being able to come to the point where I was able to take on this particular role, and that they were able to see it and let me do what I could do with it. Um, and it's an once again, it's another role that kind of lends itself into a legacy, into that sort of that Batman world, that whole franchise, and to play the duality
Yes.
of this character, and for those who haven't and didn't know, it might be a spoiler, but I apologize. But I think most people are at a point now where they kind of know that information. But that too was something, because it's, for me to play a villain, in one respect, was like, oh, I've never had the opportunity to do that. So that was great. But also another iconic character,
Yes.
in terms of the Court of Owls. People have their ideas about that organization, but then to take someone like Jacob Kane and make him the leader of that, and the voice, and it's filled with obviously a lot of wealthy people within the world of Gotham,
Yes.
who are part of this organization. But I love that. I love that kind of slyness, and also you kind of see a turn in him. Here's the uncle of Bruce Wayne,
Right.
who, for all intents and purposes, knows the identity, I think, of most of the Bat family.
Yes.
And then to have this what I think is a twist and unexpected, that this particular character would come out and be that. So I hope I hope I did it justice, and also the fact that the voice, once again, is something, to see all of that and to come up with how I feel within those situations, and hopefully emotionally, put myself in the shoes of Jacob Kane. I've watched and seen some of the things, and I'm proud of it. I'm absolutely proud of it.
Yes, sir. And you should be proud of it, because I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I've sank hours and hours upon hours into Gotham Knights, and I've really just been enjoying it. And it's one of those things that you just don't want it to end, because the story is so compelling.
Right.
Seeing people go through different things, and like you said, the twist and the duality of playing the light side of Jacob Kane, and then also tapping in to that darker side that leads to Court of Owls. You did it justice. I think I speak for everybody
Oh,
saying
thank
that you
you.
certainly nailed the role. Again, here is Die Hardman, here is Jacob Kane, here's Death Stranding, here is WB Games Montreal. You are on fire, Tommie. Let's talk about the number one show in the world right now. I mean, it's
Wow.
almost like you can't miss Wednesday Addams. I mean, Tommy Jenkins, Gina Ortega, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Christina Ricci, Luis Guzman. What Tim Burton has done with the Addams Family brand is legendary, even from the stuff of the 90s.
Mm.
It's iconic. When you were all on set, did you feel the weight, the burden of responsibility to get this right?
Mm. Yeah, I think that I can only speak for myself, in terms of the weight that I felt, of doing it. Um, and I don't think there was so much that I felt the weight, because of the show that it was. I think I felt the weight as an actor to go in and do the job to the best of my ability. Is what I kind of always take with every project that I do. And I do understand the aspect of, and to some degree, I do think about those things and thinking how iconic. It's the same with doing, working with Hideo and feeling the weight of that to go in and do my job, doing Gotham Knights, and another iconic character. But for me, it was really about going in and doing the best job that I can do for the character that I've been given. Um, you know, but I think that working with someone like Tim, you put your trust in, because it's Tim Burton. I mean, the man has an incredible history, as a director, and his visions and all the things that he does, the people that he uses and casts. He knows what he wants. He has, like most directors, they have their vision, they have their idea, and your job is to help execute that and bring it to life. You know, and like I said earlier, even though my roles in this huge machine may be like a small wheel in this machine, but it's a very important wheel
Yes.
to keep this to tell the story, because a lot of it revolves around what my character would consider his home, and for him, no matter what people think of him as a character, and there everyone will always have their ideas and impressions about him, but like anyone, we as humans, we're all flawed, and I think to be able to play those characters that are flawed and see past what people visually see, and how people relate to a character or an actor playing a particular role. I think you have to look at the characters, and we as actors, we know what we're getting ourselves into. We've read the script, we know what it entails. Our job is to execute it, and it works for some, and not so much for others. But I think the idea is that we embody,
Mhm.
we commit, we do the work, and and then as the sort of process goes, we evolve, we create these characters, and they come to life, and they start to make people feel a certain way. If I have made you feel in any way through an emotional journey, my job is done.
Wow. Wow. Excellent way to look at it. And as Mayor Walker in Wednesday Adams, I think you definitely made us all feel some type of way, because like you said, it sets the context and tone, and it sets up so much more in the show.
Hmm.
Um seeing the success of this, because I think it's what, number one in 83 countries.
83
Um
countries, man.
83 countries. Did you ever, throughout the process of filming this show, think that it would have this level of impact?
um Honestly, I felt like there was going to be an impact in some way, shape, or form, simply because Tim Burton's name was attached to it. But we have the incredible writers, Al Gough and Miles Miller, who created it and wrote this story, and the three of those, that trifecta, was a match made in heaven. And I think even they knew from the jump start this could only be for one person to take this on, to do it, and that was Tim Burton. I don't want to speak for them, but I feel like that when they've written, I think he must have been their first choice and probably only choice to do this, because it is so him. It is so him. Um, but I think, uh, as far as the impact that it had, I knew that it would have something, but like I said, to what degree, I had no idea. I felt what a wonderful project to be a part of. Not only am I once again going to be able to work with some amazing actors who've turned out to be amazing friends, but to be a part of another iconic character and tell a story in which a lot of it is revolved basically on some of the choices that I've had to make, um, in my head, in the backstory in which I have to create to do this, to do the role. But I could not have foreseen that it was going to be number one in 83 countries, and the viewing figures, and the amount of records it's broken already. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I wake up daily now thinking, when I see it come across Netflix on the screen and it still says number one, I smile. I smile honestly, and think, what a wonderful thing to be able to see. And not only that, but to have been a part of, you
Yes.
know. So I'm
Yes.
grateful for it.
Wow, that is incredible. I actually, in fact, G Davis, I'm gonna put his um comment on the screen. He's saying now that this is currently his favorite show. Um, Hero Mentor has done the numbers, and he says 341 million hours of watch time in its debut week. I mean, that Tommy, is the things of legends.
Incredible, right?
As you in your career, even as an experienced professional, because you have so many different incredible projects. And I think that my wife is watching tonight as well. And she wanted to make sure that she tuned in. She had to work out, but she's still tuned in. So hey, Ebony.
Hey, Ebony.
So even as an experienced professional, whenever you land these roles, like, do you still get nervous? Do you get butterflies when you go on set?
In short, yes, I do. Yes, I do. The first day of any job, no matter how long you've had the job, you audition, you get the gig, you get the call, you start in a month's time, and you're excited about it. You're excited about the people you're going to work with for a lot of reasons, and you show up on your first day, and yes, there is always an element of energy. I call it a positive energy. Now, nerves is a way of thinking at it, but I try not to think of it as nervousness, maybe in the sense that not putting that kind of spin on it, but kind of thinking it's more of an excitement. And it is a nervousness, as I suppose, because you want to go on, you want to do a great job, you want to be able to fulfill the job that you've been given, but also at the same time, you're meeting. It's only natural. You're meeting some people for the first time. Your first day on set, you get to work with you're working a scene out with someone who you haven't actually met and you're meeting for the first time. So those things are natural for people to feel. But if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't feel like I'm going to be connected in some way. It makes me
Wow.
feel alive. It
Wow.
makes me feel like okay, I'm here. I'm in the moment. I'm feeling exactly what I'm meant to be feeling. I just need to know how to control the feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can either use it to help you or it will be a hindrance to you, you know?
Wow.
So it's about how you channel certain things, and I think we all get nervous, sometimes nervous out of excitement, you
Yes.
know. But I welcome it. I feel if I didn't get that feeling, um, then I'd be a little concerned. It's like
Yeah.
when I was doing theater, I would always be nervous on opening night because you've worked and rehearsed 6 weeks to build up this show, and all of a sudden an audience is going to see it for the first time. But that nervousness is out of excitement because for the first time an audience is going to see your performance. You're going to take them on this incredible journey, and you want to make sure that you do everything right. And theater's a little different to TV because anything can go wrong on the night, and you have to go with it. TV, you make a mistake, you can go cut, we'll fix that, and let's go back and let's try it again. So you're always going to get a finished product when something, it's the same as recording a song. You can do it till you get it right. And theater, anything can happen. Anything can happen on the night, out of your control.
Wow. That is well said, because, like you said, there's no cut and edit button to live productions
There is
with
none.
theater.
The only
Yes,
chance you
sir.
get is doing it over again the next night.
I'm right. Now, is there anything in your career that you want to do, maybe that you haven't done? Is there still that passion project or that passion assignment that you would like to do?
I think in a sense there is. I want to do bigger roles. Obviously, I want to do some more leading roles that allow me to show a fuller range of storytelling and being able to take people on even more in-depth journeys. I've been fortunate to have some things in the voiceover and the interactive world that have allowed me to do that and to make an impact in people's lives, which have been wonderful to receive those types of messages. But I love the challenge and the thought of being able to take on bigger roles that will challenge me further as an actor. And the only way those things come about is we just keep grinding, we keep working, and when a project comes along and someone feels that, sometimes people think that they know you and they know your ability.
Yes.
If they don't give you the chance to show other sides, that just kind of, the world never gets to see that. So I always love when a director tests you or challenges you in a way that lets you go to a place that even you are sometimes surprised by as the
Wow.
actor. You
Yes.
know, and I have to say, Death Stranding was one of those. I had no idea that my emotion, that scene,
Yeah.
would become what it became. But that was something that came from within me in the course of that, working with Norman on that scene and Hideo. That was one, my emotions took me to that place, and that was one take, and that's where it ended. That was straight through. So I think I love the idea of taking people on an emotional journey. And I've said it before, that if you can walk away from something that I have done and you feel some kind of way because of the work that I put on, or that character, how that character made you feel, then I did my job. And and
Yeah.
that can be quite a diverse thing. Maybe they liked the character for different reasons, or they hated the character for different reasons. But whatever that is, somehow it made you think.
Yes.
It made you think, and you walked away kind of going, "Oh, God, that character really rubbed me the wrong way." I was watching a show the other night, and there's a character which I loathe this character, and I loathe it because he's so good at being a terrible person. you know and I walk away going, you've done your job.
Yes.
You've done your job, because I don't like you. I like you as an actor. I think you're brilliant as an actor, but you've made me hate this character. you
Right.
know so that's what that, and I think that's what it's about. I think that's what being an actor is about, wearing all these different hats. And we're fortunate to be able to do that. you know so I hope that I get to do more of that. And if there's any Marvel folks out there watching,
Come on.
I'm happy to come into the Marvel world. Or
Yes.
Spielberg, if you got something, I think we can make something a little special, give me an opportunity. There we go. I put it out there to the universe.
Hey, this is your guy, MCU. This is your guy. You heard it here first on the
You heard
Deeper
it,
Level
man.
Podcast. Yes, sir. Well, hey, you have built quite the resume with these notches that you have under your belt. So I am quite certain that great things are in store for your future, Tommie.
Thank you.
What advice would you give aspiring actors, different people who may be watching now, or even going to see the video on demand, who are ambitious and attempting to break into the industry? What would be your advice for them?
um I would say, first and foremost, think long and hard about this business. It is not for the faint-hearted, and that's not me scaring you off, because there's a positive side to all of that. It is, if you want to get into it, I'd start with acting classes first, and to see how you feel about getting in touch with your emotions and being able to access that vulnerable side, those angry sides. Sometimes we have to dig a little deep or bring up things from our past. And it really is you having to know who you are. Do you know what I mean? Um, and so I think that would be the first place I would say to start, and allow yourself to open up, know who you are. And if you find that you can and if you find that you can't think of anything else that you would rather be doing in this world that gives you passion, I'd say follow that dream and go for it.
Wow.
If it is what you want and you can't think of anything else more to do, because it is a process. It isn't an overnight situation.
Yes.
Listen, we do hear that some people become stars overnight. Some people we hear become stars overnight, but it's been a 30-year process. These people weren't stars overnight. They have
Yes.
been grinding for years. You know what I'm saying? They have been grinding for years, pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, trying to get somebody to see them, to hear them, to acknowledge them, and see what they have to offer. And then you get on a chat show and they say, listen, you are an overnight sensation. Yeah, but I've been an overnight sensation in the process for the last 30 years trying to make this happen. So I get it. But I will say, listen, if it's how you feel, go for it. It's not easy. It's hard work. But it can be incredibly, incredibly rewarding. And to listen, listen, listen.
Yes.
Your surroundings, Listen to those who have great advice for you. Listen to those people who you know and you respect. Take it on board. It's the same with being on set. You got to listen to what's being said. Listen to the information you're being fed. And be a sponge. Soak up
Yes.
all of that
Yes.
information. You can never have enough information in your toolbox about this business. Do your research and everything, but it isn't one of those things that I would say you can just go out and just do. Some people have a natural gift for acting, but at the same time, then you need to also learn the other aspect, the other side of the business, which is the business side,
Yeah.
and also to find out who you are. Know how to be your authentic self, because it is the one thing that we have that no one else can be.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It is the one
Yes.
thing we have that no one else can be. It is the one thing that sets you apart from the person sitting next to you in the audition room. If you know who you are, other people are going to know who you are. So hang on to that and love that person. Love that person, because that person is going to carry you through life. It is the only person who will be with you 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year for the rest of your life. So you best get to know who that person is.
Wow. Oh man, I'm ready to pass the collection plate, brother. 'Cause you just preached, and this is the type of information that we need. And thank you for pouring that type of wisdom into us. And like you
Sure.
said, one of my mentors always used to say that as well, that it takes about 20 plus years to become an overnight success. So
Right.
I get exactly what you're saying and what you're talking about.
Sure.
As we come to a close, is there a current project in the works? Because we definitely want to see more of you. Is there anything, of course, without giving specific details, because I understand NDAs and we certainly want to be mindful of that, but is there something that's in the works?
There is some things that are in the work, and I can't say what the project is, but it is definitely a universe that
Oh,
I've always wanted to work in,
okay.
and it is of galactic proportions.
Wow.
Do with that
Wow.
what you will,
Yes.
in terms of the wording. So I'm going to leave that with you. So those are things, and there's a few other things, but I listen. I'm one of those people. I'm always posting when I have the opportunity to say what's coming out or what's being done, and the Star Trek Prodigy just released an episode with my character in that you will see more of. And I know that he didn't really say anything in this episode, but you saw who he is. Adriku, who is the first officer of the USS Protostar. So there is that to look forward to, and a few other things, so I'm going to leave that where it is. But I'm sure people will go away now trying to figure out. That was very cryptic. He didn't really say anything, but he just say a word. What did that mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Trust me, people are very analytical with these bits of information.
Oh,
Um,
dude, you
even in
only
the
need to
context.
drop the crumb.
Yes.
It's a feeding frenzy.
Absolutely. Well, Tommie, we are cheering for you, man.
Thank you.
Excited about your career, excited about what you've been doing.
Thank
I
you.
just want to tell you, keep going. If you are ever in the Texas, Arkansas area, man, look us up. Our home is your home, brother.
Hey, bless you, man. I really appreciate it. I want to get there and put one foot on Arkansas and one foot in Texas. So I want
Yes,
to
sir.
rattle that line.
Yes, sir. Listen, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jenkins. Again, I hope everyone takes these words to heart that you shared with us, because it was certainly a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge, and appreciate your time. And this has been another wonderful edition of the Deeper Level Podcast. Make sure that you like and subscribe. If you do not follow Tommie, won't you connect with his stuff right now on social media? How can we find you, Tommie? How can we connect?
You can find me on Twitter at TJ84, which is TEEJAYE84. I'm also on Instagram at Tommie Earl Jenkins Official. You'll be able to find that. Also got a Facebook page, a YouTube channel. I'm out there. You'll be able to find me.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tommie. And looking forward to the next information that you're sharing on your social media. I'm following, I'm watching. Take care. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, and keep on keeping on.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Signing out.